Woo! Oh, my goodness. Fusco.
You know what that tune's called?
What is it called?
Lament for the Pipe Band Season.
Hey, Mr. Fusco.
Yes, Josh.
You know what really just puts a head wound in my pipe band season?
What's that, Josh?
Every single event being canceled, and not only all the events being canceled, including my own, but all of the amazing work being done by people in the community, both the pipe band community, the athletics community, the drumming community, organizers across the world, to try to figure out how to, not die. Not just die in a literal sense, but also in an organizational sense.
Are they doing work? Because I've gone into a hole. I have no idea what's going on out there.
Which hole did you go into? And did you use protection?
The hole in my sheets that I've worn from a whole lot of humping my bed.
From humping that same thin IKEA mattress for 2 years. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh.
I bought 2 of them just for that purpose.
Just so you can flip them over? Because you're not going to go through both.
No. It's not that long.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josh. Welcome to the Shenanigans podcast. I have to warn you, this is an explicit show. So before we move on, I would highly recommend you just wash your hands, put your mask on, and don't listen to anything else because we're the best. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck! Listeners can review the show on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, etc. Hey, if you drop us a review and send it to us, whether it's 1 star or 5 stars, we'll probably send you a sticker. So, think about that.
We don't have any stickers, so don't promise that.
I'll order some more stickers.
Okay,
Listeners can send in emails and voicemails we played on air. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or if you're Australian, Snapchat. Check out the Chanarant store at chanarant.com. And this episode of the Chanarant podcast is brought to you by our patrons, those lovely people who have decided to pay $5 a month to listen to 2 hours of dick jokes once a week. We appreciate you very much, and you can become a patron at patreon.com/Chanarant. Last but not least, if you are a fan, share with your friends. I have an interesting factoid.
Do you?
When we talk about inviting and sharing with your friends and liking us on Facebook, the Western United States Pipe Band Association has 1,122 likes, and we have 1,144. We were officially more popular on Facebook than the Western United States Pipe Band Association. Yeah.
Wow. That didn't take very long. They've only existed for 50 years.
Yeah, and we've only been around for 2. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. So here's what I want our listeners to do. I want our listeners to decide what pipe band association we should overtake in Facebook likes next.
I'm going to
I mean, RSPBA is only like 2,200. That's an easy target.
Is it really? 2,200?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Nobody likes them.
Well, that's for sure.
I mean, so if you're out there and you're a Chanarant listener, get us past 2,200 likes, invite your friends to like the page, and we could have more likes than the RSPBA.
That would be pretty funny.
That'd be really funny.
Then we can mobilize.
Yes.
Against them, Facebook-wise.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of keyboard fucking warriors that are our audience.
Hey, it's good that we have warriors on our side. That's all that matters.
Oh, so Sko, how you been, man? How are you enjoying the least favorite apocalypse? I was told we'd have zombies. I have a lot of bullets for nothing.
It's so not interesting out there. Yeah. I carry a knife to the grocery store just in case, and I don't know. It's pretty boring.
My tomahawk cannot tomahawk coronavirus.
This is the most boring end of the world I've ever experienced.
It's really exhausting. I'm really hoping we get zombies soon.
When is that going to happen? When do people... Well, actually, our guest might talk about it, but apparently people are fighting with each other in apartment complexes and housing complexes in Vegas.
Yeah, that's
true. Fighting over what? I have no idea because the stores are fine, so I don't know what they're fighting over. But maybe they're taking advantage of... I don't know.
Well, and this is actually a perfect time to introduce our guest. We have the one and only Mr. Buggie coming to us live from Las Vegas at his own home, not the same home that we are in.
No. Hello, everybody.
For those of you who don't remember the early days of Chanarant when we were in more trouble than we are now.
The good old days.
Oh,
So Mr. Buggie is the piping and drumming chair for the Las Vegas Celtic Society. He's also a friend of mine and former bandmate of mine, and yours as well.
Mine as well, and a former student. I started Buggie way back, 2002 or something. Oh, was that when it was? 2004? Yeah.
Yep.
I used to go to Buggie's house, and this is when he was still a single guy, living the life, living the dream.
Playing StarCraft and jerking off.
Yeah, and pipes. He was a very single guy.
Me and my dogs.
And I can vouch, having known Buggie since I started playing pipes, because we started right around the same time. And
it was probably right about exactly the same time. I think we both started under Van.
Yeah, man. And
with the group lessons.
And I can also vouch as an event organizer that James Buggie might be the best piping and drumming chair ever to piping and drumming chair. He is a fire and forget
in
missile,
Las
man.
Vegas.
Fair enough. So,
so we brought Buggie on tonight because we had, I think it was by now, and it's hard because we're in a time warp because we've recorded so many episodes, but we had some conversation on an episode like maybe one or two or so ago about like R2 Sports and like how the fee split works between associations and event organizers, and like who gets the money, where does it go, what does it take to set up these kinds of events. And in the opposite of what would be traditional chant and rant style, we said, hey, let's put a pin in this until we get Buggie on instead of just talking out of our ass drunkenly for an hour.
I'm pretty sure we didn't put a pin in it. I'm pretty sure we talked out of our ass. But
we put a decent sized pin. I mean, maybe we talked out of our ass for like 15 minutes, but I distinctly remember saying multiple times, we got to get Buggie on. Buggie will know.
Somebody will know the answer to this that we are asking questions and getting all angry about.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't remember what those questions were, but maybe we'll accidentally find them.
I've got some of them written down.
All right, good.
But yeah, so we're very excited to have Buggie on. He's a phenomenal volunteer for the Las Vegas Celtic Society and our Highland Games. And real quick, we just have a couple plugs. We got a couple plugs to do. You know? Just like a bald guy or some dude that likes getting pegged by a 90-year-old lady, we got plugs. So first off, in the midst of this horrific situation that we're all in, self-quarantining, etc., you might need clothes. And might I suggest the Wash Your Hands Eternal Youth Tee on chanterant.com.
Yes.
It has both steps you need as a chanter ranter to avoid getting sick. Wash your hands and hail Satan.
Yes. Pray to the unholy Lord himself and also wash your hands.
Yeah. The great deceiver.
It reminds you of those two things.
The great deceiver said, don't have faith in other people washing their hands. Wash your own.
Wash your own hands. Don't touch money, I believe he said as well. But,
yeah. Well, only touch money through your G-string where it was inserted, obviously.
Right. Where it was meant to be.
Yeah, where it was
in a G-string.
And then wash your hands.
And then wash your hands.
This is a great shirt.
But also, in addition to that, one piping institution that we have relentlessly plugged to little financial avail for us.
Some.
The Piper's Dojo. So, Fusco, tell us about this like free week that's left, because I think by the time this comes out, is the free week's going to be over?
He's extended it because, of course, the destruction of society as we know it has continued.
Mm-hmm.
So he keeps extending it. But the dojo, the Piper's Dojo, is currently free to everyone. To live classes, let's say that live classes are free to everyone, and it's been great. We've had so many great new students showing up. So take advantage of that. Go to the dojo and ask about, hey man, how can I attend live classes for free? Because I got absolutely nothing to do, and there's 17 classes a day, and I want to be in every one of them, just like Aussie Broad and not like Beer Boy Brad, who shows up to nothing. But that's okay.
Yeah, and when you're in those classes, just, hashtag one of the six right in that comment box.
Absolutely. I get a lot of people that mention
tell them that you're not going to continue paying when the free period is over, when the world's gone back to normal, unless they cut Chanran a check.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, and go into Andrew's class.
I desire, all I want is we want exactly $666 for everyone that we get signed up.
That's a lot of money for each person.
That is.
But I'm
not
going to disagree.
Overall.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
No.
Yeah. So go into Andrew's class, say hashtag one of the 666, and He will appreciate that. And, of course, go to Brad Matheson's class and say, hey, man, I heard you on Chanarant, and your stories are hilarious. They're so goddamn funny. I can't even take it anymore. Dojo's free. Check it out. It's really important to support your non-local musicians like Dojo and Brad Matheson. And, hey, it gives us all work to do. So, but Buggie, how are you holding up in these financial de-stressing times? You still working or what?
Not too bad. We're I have two jobs, and my main employer is taking very good care of us.
That's the win, right?
Yeah.
You're down to two jobs. You had like six last time I talked to you.
I'm down to two paying jobs.
Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, they're taking real good care of us and paying us through this time. And so if you ever come to Las Vegas, come.
Yeah, definitely go to the Win. The Win is like
Win
is a model of like how maybe it should be done because granted, Steve Wynn's gone and I didn't agree with that, but I don't know how you. Actually, we should ask Buggy about that, but we'll get into that later. But man, they are like one of
drinks before I say anything about that.
They're one of the few properties in town because they're more. You could almost say independently owned. They only own the Win and Encore, right? So, but they're really,
here in town, yeah.
Yeah, they're taking care of their employees quite well as compared to everybody else.
Oh man,
MGM who laid everybody off,
and just destroying the economy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is all secondhand information, but I mean, I've heard that they've basically fired everyone from MGM.
Yes, they have almost everybody.
That is secondhand information and also accurate.
It's firsthand information from somebody I know that works for the MGM.
Yeah, they've severance pay, paid out vacations, as turned in uniforms, you're just done, and they'll rehire.
I heard MGM is keeping they're letting them keep their health insurance until like June.
Oh wow!
So that's something.
Well, that's something anyway. I don't know how they can do that if they don't work for the company anymore, but
there's laws about for a few months.
The Win is just first rate. They're class act taking care of us and communicating with us and letting us know what's going on. And, I mean, even before the governor stepped in, they were very adamant that nobody needs to worry about their job. Nobody needs to worry about their income. Mm-hmm. And, kudos to them.
Yeah. So far,
unfortunately my other job is based on, actually working. There's no vacation time or anything like that. So,
yeah,
on that, but
that was you as like an independent employee. What do they call that?
Independent contractor.
Yeah, you were.
No, we worked for a company, but I mean it was all, just for comparison's sake, it's basically manpower, but for the entertainment industry. So everything was entertainment related.
Sure.
And with no entertainment going on, there's just no work.
Right. And hold on. So I'm going to go off on a fucking tangent here because this pisses me off every time I see it. And Buggy, you can jump in if you feel like it, but because you're part of the entertainment industry and as well as I am. But it's something that pissed me off on goddamn Facebook this week is somebody like talking about, they posted a picture of a bunch of like actors and like saying that they're non-essential and blah, blah, blah. Like all this hate towards entertainment people. And they're not all fucking $1 million actors out there, people. Some of them are like us and Buggy, the guy who runs the lights at the fucking Win show. And, there's a lot of us who do a lot of work in the entertainment industry that are not the $1 million people. So when you lash out at that kind of shit, it pisses me off because, or people that lash out at like, athletes that make millions of dollars. But there's a whole lot of people that those people employ as well because of the industry they're in. And if you're so pissed off about the entertainment industry making this kind of money, then don't participate in the entertainment industry. Yeah, don't watch the goddamn shows. Don't go to the shows. Don't watch TV. Don't do anything. What else are you going to fucking do? It pisses me off, man. But anyway, go ahead.
Like the sports analogy. Yes, there are people that are making millions and millions, but there's also like for everyone that's making, $10 million for a season, there's probably 100 guys on that in various teams that are making league minimum, which is
absolutely
barely more than I'm making.
not only that, but think of all the people that work for that team, that industry, whatever, that are not athletes, but the support people, the cameraman, the fucking light guy, the fucking whatever, man. There's a lot of shit out there.
The towel boy.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Dude,
fucking ball boy at the goddamn tennis event.
If I had just not gone to a magnet arts school, I could have just been on a crew with some football player doing their Instagram videos, and I'd be making like $80,000 a year. It'd be great.
Yeah, man. That kind of shit drives me goddamn bonkers. And trust me, the people where I come from are all over that because they're, the good old boys, like folk, the folks, not my literal folks, but the folks.
Yeah. Them folks.
It drives me goddamn bananas when people all lash out at like, oh, the heroes are the people that are running the grocery stores right now. Yeah. They're doing their fucking job just like everybody else, man. It's slow your roll. You know what I mean? Like, we're all out of work,
Yeah.
Some of us more than others.
And in Vegas, we particularly feel it. Well, you made that choice. That was a choice. Don't.
I regret nothing.
But, there's the whole Vegas scene is entertainment industry. And when you lash out at entertainers, guess what? You're fucking everybody. Like people like me, people like Buggie, the guys that are with the dustpans cleaning up at the Blue Man Group. They're all part of the entertainment industry. So... and I would say on top of that, like when entertainment is deemed non-essential, which I can understand as far as like social distancing, that kind of stuff is concerned. Sure.
Like it is public safety, but you have to keep in mind too, like that is just, and like you said, it's an enormous amount of people that are connected to that. So like when I do appreciate.
We live in the first world, people. Guess what? Most of our industry is service and entertainment. So think about it a little bit before you fucking.
Well, for now, I mean, after this, we're all going to be in fucking dust mask manufacturing jobs. But
well, yeah, I'd be happy to get into that industry right now. By the way, my 401k is shite.
Double down.
Don't even.
Invest now, people.
Invest.
Today is now the time to put money into it. If you got money, invest it right now.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, we completely lost track of
30%.
Oh, dude, big time. Mine was down, let's see. Yeah, I'd say, maybe 30, 40%.
I mean, mine's down, but there wasn't that much in there because, I'll never be able to retire.
Yeah, what's 40% of 2,000?
Like $42? I don't know.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. So the reason that we brought Mr. Buggie on.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with the win.
Nothing to do with the win. It has a lot to do with some conversation we had a couple episodes ago about. I think what kicked it off was R2 Sports, which is the Western United States Pipe Band Association platform that they use for solo registrations for contests.
Solo and band. But
I don't know if anybody else uses it besides WSPBA. I'm not entirely sure.
I think like your mom's soccer team probably uses it.
Okay.
Yeah,
not your mom,
I know there's a lot of events that use it, but I believe that WSPBA is the only piping association that uses it.
Yeah.
Because we had a question about, and full disclosure, I work with Buggie on the Highland Games. I'm trying very hard not to say anything that'll get us in more hot water than we've been in the past, but I'll probably fail. But I don't have a really good understanding. So R2 is it's an app. It's an application that's designed for sports teams and has been adapted to piping in some sense. Am I correct in that assumption there, Buggie?
Yes.
And
that would be accurate.
Pipers, I believe bands as well. Don't bands pay through R2?
Yes.
Okay, so
everything as I understand it, like even registration is done through them.
Okay.
So it kind of handles it all.
We kind of wanted to, one, talk about the platform, two, talk about because I don't think people who are in our audience actually have.
Where's the bell?
Yeah, I don't know where it's probably in the box. I don't think people who are in our audience actually have like a complete understanding of what it takes to throw a pipe band contest. Not that it's like rocket science inventing a cure for cancer, but it's fucking hard and there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, yeah, that there is.
So I kind of want to lean on you for a bit for this. So like, how do you feel like the narrative would go best if we started with the platform, or if we started with the lead up to what it takes to actually build out a contest?
To prevent me from rambling on and on and on, I would say.
Well, this is the point of the show tonight, man. Is for you to ramble on and educate. You gotta educate the people that are paying money. One, people who are attendees that don't understand what goes on, and the people who are organizers that don't fully understand it.
More importantly, our audience who does not care how this happens.
Well, and people in our audience who are, maybe they want to throw their own event.
Well,
are we doing this whole thing for Brad? Is that why we're doing this? The Tannerant Invitational or whatever the fuck it's called.
It took you this long?
Oh my god, this is all a setup, people. Don't listen to any of this. Sorry, go ahead, Buggie.
So, just maybe a little history to how I got started in this. There was some people who were organizing the contest. They were from out of town. This is way back in, I don't know, the first couple of years of the Highland Games. And it just wasn't working out, just communication-wise and such. So I was approached to see if I would be interested in doing it. And, I've always liked kind of organizational type stuff. So,
Buggy, don't short sell yourself. You're a goddamn nerd, and we all love you for it.
Okay, well, I was just looking for a fancy word for it.
One other thing,
you're a nerd and you're amazing, and we all love you for it. Don't hide your shine under a barrel.
One other thing, Buggy, before you continue, I want to point out is that Buggy was for many years the president of the pipe band as well, and
This is true.
because he was so organized, he's
Relentlessly
insanely
organized.
So go ahead.
Yeah, that's why we had board meetings every 6 months.
Well, maybe in the last year.
Don't worry, Buggy. We're working on an amendment that makes people who want to be on the board of the band that shall not be named not have to be members.
Correct. So it's coming, buddy.
So I stepped in and I tried it, and I actually really enjoyed doing it. So I kept doing it, and just year after year, seeing what worked and keeping that, and then what didn't work and getting rid of it and finding a better way to do it. And honestly, I think that's the key to everything really kind of in life is try something. If it doesn't work, change it and try it again.
Well, and I think that,
and if it does work, keep doing it.
I also think that it's a mentality thing, man. Like, there happens to be a group of people that get attracted around these kinds of events that just want to do it better, no matter what. And they tend to push out the people. They tend to push out the people that want to do it to like further themselves somehow or benefit themselves somehow. Like I can guarantee everyone, Buggy gets nothing out of doing piping and drumming for us aside from work. Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
on the weekend itself, it's fun. It's enjoyable. Seeing everybody again. Hearing the music and kind of seeing.
Wishing you were playing pipes again.
Yes, wishing I was playing again. And thinking, you know what, I'm going to practice come Tuesday, and then Tuesday rolls around, and damn, got this going.
Tuesday rolls around, everyone has coronavirus, you can't go.
Yeah, exactly. So I think also part of my my livelihood of being in entertainment / hospitality has kind of plays a role into that as well, because for so long I've been ingrained in that everything has to be perfect, whether that's the show, whether that's guest service, that however that comes around, everything has to be 5-star. And so I try, being a former competitor, I kind of look at things through the competitor's eye. I competed for 6 or 7 years, so I saw at various games what worked, what didn't work, so it kind of gave me a basis to start from. What I liked about particular games and what I didn't like, so I made sure to steer clear of that, of those pitfalls, and being in the service industry, we always want people to be satisfied, And so that's my number one priority, is making sure that everybody that comes, whether they're a competitor, a judge, or a spectator, that they have a good time and want to come back, and so that's how I approach every single thing that I do, is making it good for them. So I mean, that's kind of my overall philosophy, and then the nuts and bolts.
Can I dig into that a little bit? So what do you think makes it, what makes Vegas's games, or the way what would you do, or what do you do that makes Vegas interesting for people to want to come to, in particular?
I think that I try and get, it varies on the particular aspect. From a spectator point of view, the band contests. Mm-hmm. I don't have all the MSRs on one day and all the time medleys on another day. Mm-hmm. I alternate them so that the spectator isn't, they get variety in the musical styles.
Well, because most people don't come both days.
True.
Well, I mean, even if they do, they're not sitting there that whole day, listening to nothing but MSRs.
Right.
Which,
sure.
I mean, it's great music, but if you're listening to, 10 MSRs in a row, I mean, it's kind of like by the end, you're just, okay, how many times can I hear the same tunes again?
Oh, that's like, listening to the world's.
I'm about to say, listening to the world's, especially
that's
like in the
probably
threes
more
and fours.
A world's problem. Yeah. But I mean, in each grade, bands tend to gravitate towards similar tunes, especially to people who don't know the tunes themselves. They just kind of know, oh, this one has this kind of style, or like this kind of feel to it. But by alternating the day, what sets are played on which days, it kind of gives some variety to the listener. The judges, I try and make sure that that they get nothing less than a 5-star experience.
I mean, taken care of.
Hold on. This is interesting. So wait. You're talking about for the judges' experience.
The judges are part of it. I mean, yes, they're being paid, but there's nothing saying that they can't have an enjoyable time while
not at all
while there.
I'll tell you what, every judge on the planet wants to come to the Vegas games. Like, I hear it all the fucking time. Like, people will contact me and say, like, how do I get to fucking be the judge? I'm like, I have nothing to do with it.
You call Buggie.
I'll forward your name to Buggie, but I have nothing to do with it. Except that you put them up in the Hotel California. I don't think you forwarded
a single name to me.
No, I did not. I fucking lie my ass off. I have no interest in. I could care less who comes to where.
I tell everybody, I was like, you call Buggie. Buggie talks to you. He tells me how much, and then I
tell him no.
Then I usually tell him no.
But more importantly, tell me about that year you sent everybody to Hotel California, and they were all like, "Fuck this." Or not hotel. What was it? The California. Right?
Oh, was it the California on? Oh,
it's on
down
Fremont.
On Maine. Yes.
Yeah, it was some shit hotel. One year, everybody got
that actually wasn't Buggie's fault.
No, that was the Plaza.
Yeah, that was MLK's fault too.
MLK, really?
That hotel was quite awful.
Oh, I've heard all about it, and I have nothing to do with the games, but oh boy, have I heard about it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can only control so much of it. I don't think we ever went back there.
No, and it also comes down to, like, every year's different. I mean, unlike everyone else, this is not how we make our living. So we just have a very limited set of tools to play with, depending on how good the year before was. So it comes down to, like, okay, like, I would love to put everyone else. I'd love to put all of our judges up in the fucking penthouse somewhere where they, have parties and tag us in social media and whatever. The problem is we're an actual nonprofit. There's just no way to run that,
and they don't know how to use technology for the most part.
And we get very little return.
And they may not show up. They may not show up the next day.
Yeah, they may still be in the hotel room instead of judging.
exactly.
Hey, these things get fixed.
Which I'm saying nothing afterwards because I've already been in trouble for this.
Buggy, tell me a little bit about like the way you choose judges. Like, what is that? What is your philosophy there?
To be honest, it's been, in the beginning, I talked to people about who they would like to see, and they've been such a pleasure to work with that I try and keep using them. I try. My overall philosophy is I don't want, because Las Vegas is 200 plus miles away from any major city. I don't want to get judges that are likely to be at, the games that are down the street from, so if they're likely to be used at, Costa Mesa or at San Diego or Phoenix, I try to kind of avoid those judges, because why are people, my thinking is that why are people going to drive 200 miles just to get a sheet from a judge that they're going to get a sheet from where they have to drive 20 miles to?
Sure. Yeah.
So I try and get judges, unfortunately at this point in the game, I know that the judges that I tend to use are quite often used at other Whistleblower games, because they are so good.
Do you think other people took your model though? Like, because there was a time period, I definitely agree, where like you would bring in people that you didn't see anywhere else. Like you'd bring Jack Lee in, and you brought who else? Let me think. Who was out of the ordinary? Like the dude from fucking Pittsburgh, who's
Andrew
Carlisle, stuff like that you don't see on the West Coast all that often.
And we still bring
and
right, but you don't see him, and you don't see
Greg
those guys.
Abbott,
our sleepiest boy, Andrew Carlisle.
But whatever. Like these are guys you don't necessarily see at Costa Mesa or Phoenix or wherever. Maybe you see you tend to see the West Coast guys like the Seamus Coynes, the Colin Armstrongs, the whatever, like the usual guys you see. So you're right. Do you think that actually makes a difference though? Do bands travel for a different judge? If Jack Lee's, because we've definitely had Jack Lee here very often. You've had Jim Sim, you've had Andrew Carlisle, you've had whoever. Like there's a bunch of guys that I've seen over the years. Ken Eller, fucking Ken Eller.
Ken's pretty
Ken
good.
Eller.
Who's you got somebody coming out this year? You have Dixie coming out this year, right? Is that
Well,
it's canceled.
Yeah, Dixie was able. Yeah, Dixie was planning on returning. Last year was our first year using Dixie.
Right. So like legends in the game, but not normal for the West Coast, right? Do you think that makes a difference? Do people travel for that? Do judges or do bands travel for that?
I think it depends on what the band is doing. I know in the beginning I got, several people pulled me aside, bands that were planning on going to Scotland, and they, thanked me for bringing these judges, because these judges are the judges that, are judging various contests at the Worlds. So they're getting feedback that is important to them for the Worlds.
Yeah.
I know not every band is doing the Worlds, and I know that, some bands don't really care, but I think for the soloists, I think it is important, because the soloists aren't necessarily coming as part of a band. I mean, we have, a large number of people who come just for the solos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and that crowd, like I said, why am I going to go to all the way to Las Vegas to get a sheet from Joe Blow when I'm going to get that, when I'm going to see him, 3 weeks later, and I don't have to pay for a hotel. I don't have to drive to Las Vegas. I don't have to deal with anything, like just associated with having to pack it all up and go. I can just be at home and go.
Well, and I think that kind of leads us into a more direct conversation about kind of local events, right? So we teased earlier on like the platform of R2, like the working with your local association. I don't want to throw anyone on the bus because I genuinely believe that all of our associations are trying to provide actual value. But like, for example, could you walk us through the process of, okay, I'm a solo piper, I pay my fee, I register. So what happens next? Like that money goes to the organizer or it goes to the association?
Everybody gets a little bit. The games themselves get the majority. In our case, our entry fee is $33. $1 of that goes to R2 Sports, and then there's it's a percentage. I don't know. It's like 2% or something goes to the association, but that's strictly to cover the costs associated with running the credit card.
Okay, interesting.
So the association isn't making money off of it.
Yeah,
they're only covering their costs.
So it like direct deposits to the event through R2.
No, I mean, I'm guessing WSPBA holds on to it until the end, until the event has closed, and that way R2 gets the money that they're owed. The association, for band contests, the association charges a fee of, depending on how many bands you have each day. So in our case, we usually have 11 to 15, I think it is, and that's $175 a day. Maybe 150. I'm not sure exact numbers, but ballpark. So then, so WSPBA gets $350 for sanctioning the event and for providing the forms, doing all the paperwork on the association's end and all that. And then R2 gets $1 per entry, and then the rest of the money goes to the games. So before R2 came along, we used to charge $30. And then, when it was, we had to go to R2, or we were greatly encouraged to go to R2. Then we upped our fee to $33 to cover our expenses, or any additional expenses on top of it, so that we were still, the games themselves were still seeing the same income. That's pretty much the financials of it.
Okay, so basically they collect and they cut us a check later?
Yes, they collect. WSPBA runs the credit card, so they get the $33 and they hold on to it till the end of the event. And then at the end of the event, we tell the treasurer, hey, I've either already paid R2, because sometimes R2 is, that's their business. So as soon as that event's over, they're sending an invoice, and it's, they want it paid within a week. So depending on how much wrap-up I have, I sometimes just pay it myself and then submit for reimbursement.
Well, I mean, the question I have is like, so in this incredibly rare case where we are reimbursing fees, how does that work?
WSPBA is eating all the costs. They are
what costs?
Any cost that because I don't know how credit card processing works.
It's typically run through like an authorized net or a Stripe or something like that. It's like a 2.9% charge above whatever it is.
But if they refund it, I don't know if they still have that charge. If they do, then WSPBA is taking care of that. If they're getting their money back, then then they're getting their money back. But they've also communicated with me that that all these contests that are being canceled, they're covering the costs associated with R2. And I don't know that R2 is necessarily even charging us because the event is canceled. So yeah, I mean, basically,
I would
from a
say
game's point of
that
view-
that makes sense for them to cover the cost though, because all the bands already paid registration fees.
yeah, I mean, I think the association is pretty generous in covering the R2 fees. That was kind of unexpected. I figured that we were going to have to pay that. But,
We meaning the games?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's really not much. I mean, it's, at the time the games were canceled, it was $65. And that's,
Listen,
I think that,
I want to know where my $33 is right now.
Are you talking about for the band that shall not be named?
The band that shall not be named has $33 outstanding to somebody.
no, it should be back in the account at this point.
Would it be
If
electronic?
it's not, then contact me and I will.
Would it be
will hunt it
electronic?
down.
I don't remember. To be honest, I don't remember how I paid it.
I mean, whatever, because what
You're looking at me.
the
I didn't pay it.
What the
No, I
treasurer did is he just went through, he logged in to, and went through and refunded every single line item as it, so if somebody paid for a solo registration and a band registration separately, then there was 2 refunds that should have shown up. If there was, if they paid it as one block, then it would show up as one block. So everybody, I haven't been, nobody's contacted me saying that they didn't have it. But yeah, absolutely. Check and make sure that it's there.
I'm looking right now. It is not there.
Well, no, that's okay. I'm not interested in that level of nitty gritty. I'm more interested in.
I am. I got a band to run, motherfucker.
And those
We have no St.
33
Patrick's Day gigs, and
Those
we are
$33
broke.
will cover 1 month of practice space.
Whatever it is, man. We need every goddamn dollar. I'll tell you what.
I get the ease of use to some extent, but I suppose I'll need more details probably offline about what the system actually provides you. But like, for example,
Well, for me personally, the only thing that R2 provides is a way for people, is a centralized location. I don't have to worry about envelopes being lost in the mail. I don't have to worry about envelopes showing up past, considerably past the deadline. Because everything in the past, when it was all mail based,
Mhm.
was based on the postmark date. So
Right.
it could be postmarked on the deadline day, but due to various things going on with the post office, I may not see it for a week.
so the question that I present is,
And then by that point I've already made the schedule.
yeah, the question that I present is, considering that I now do advanced purchase, VIP, and athletics registrations all online through our website, is that not just the way to do it? I mean,
Well, I don't know what the other associations do as far as membership goes. With the R2 system, they're able to, because people give me a number, I assume it's legit and that they're an active member.
that's fair.
I believe that the association feels that there may have been people saying that they were current and they weren't. So the association is losing out on that membership fees. Which, I mean, that's a whole. That's for somebody.
But if they
me.
pay the solo registration fee for my event, then why do I care whether or not they're current with their association?
Well, because that's part of being sanctioned, and
Oh,
the sanctioning.
Okay.
If we're sanctioned games, people are more likely to come to our games because they get points towards
Towards like an
year-end.
aggregate year end.
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas if we're not sanctioned, then basically they walk away with what they walk away with.
What does
You
it
know,
take?
and-
What does it take to be sanctioned?
Really, it's basically all you have to do is just tell them, what events are you offering, who's going to be your judges, and assuming that the judges are acceptable, like, I mean, like they're qualified, that those judges are current on their association dues. I mean, that's really the extent of it.
Okay.
So so as far as the organizers, like the event organizers, like we are, do we get, like, aside from the idea that if you're sanctioned, more people will come, do we get like support? Do we get like a representative that comes out and helps out with the event, or?
Yeah, there's supposed to be a WSPVA representative at every event.
You said there's supposed to be.
Huh?
You said there's supposed to be.
Yeah, there's times when it kind of slips through the cracks, but thankfully, because the association executive board is made up of active band members, they're not people from outside the association, or like, there's always been somebody there if there's ever been a problem that I needed to talk to somebody about.
So there's been a representative that attended because they were there for a different reason?
There has been, in the past. I mean, we have had people assigned to us, but then there's also been times when I've had to track down somebody who's there for, competing purposes to get a ruling.
That's interesting. So I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
In your opinion, as a person who's been doing this for many years, what do you think would be the one thing that an event organizer could do to make the process easier, and one thing that an association could do to make the process easier?
From an organizational standpoint, I would have to say a more flexible scheduler. Currently, the way that R2 has been shown to me, it cannot. The whole thing with R2 was that it is supposed to be able to lay out your schedule so that people aren't at two places. It's supposed to be two places at once, and basically make your life super easy. For me, part of that experience that I was talking about earlier is making sure that people aren't needlessly standing around. That was one thing that always drove me crazy, is I'd get my pipes, they'd be sounding great. Andy, you'd get my drones sounding fantastic until I screwed them up.
Because I'm a fucking genius.
and then I'd go and I'd play my one contest, and then I would sit, and my pipes would just go to crap. And then that next one, it was such a struggle trying to get them back sounding how they were. So I try and make sure that I schedule them so that it's one, that in an ideal world, you would go from one platform, have a couple minutes, not more than 5 minutes till you played your next one, and then the next one and the next one, and then you're done. I hate it when I unfortunately, sometimes I have to do the schedule to where somebody plays at 8 a.m. and then they don't play again until 9:30. And to me, that is just awful. I see that, and I mean, even though it's not me out there having to actually compete, my stomach drops when I see that on the schedule. I'm like, that just sucks. And I feel bad for those people. And,
so if I could dump the information of what events they were competing in and their contact info into like a spreadsheet via a form on the website, would that make it easier for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's something that we could play with, but then it goes back to the whole, well, are there association dues current?
That's not necessarily a disqualifying factor for me when it comes to the solo contests. Like,
no, but that is a disqualifying factor for sanctioning, which that's important to I would, I don't know. I don't have an exact figure, but I would be more apt to go to a sanctioned games than a non-sanctioned games, because I know that what rules need to be followed. I know, that I have to be ready at this time, or I could be disqualified. There's certain structures to it that that you have to follow that are important.
How does that?
Sorry.
Are you there? Sorry.
yeah. Sorry about that. So I mean, all of those factors, I think are important to attracting people. And the amount of money that we spend on judges and hotels and flights and such, you want to get as many people out there as you can, because that, from a financial financial standpoint, the soloists are what is helping pay for the judges. So you want to do everything you can to make.
If it's any consolation, no amount of soloists or bands can ever cover the cost of piping and drumming. It's a complete sunk cost.
Here we go. So, here we go. Josh.
Don't worry.
Josh doesn't seem to understand the point of a
just get Stuart Little, get Richard Parks. At this point, trust me, no amount of registrants can ever even come close to how expensive that is.
Well, so this leads me to a question, Buggie, because I guarantee you your philosophy is different than Josh's. So
my philosophy would be similar.
Let me ask the fucking question, because I guarantee you it's not.
My philosophy would be similar if I wasn't charged with the financial stability of the organization.
Your organization is well financially stable. So beyond that fact, let's just talk about it from a distinct piping angle. So Buggie, let's assume that you have no boss.
I mean, he doesn't technically.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he's a volunteer. I get it. But
I've said no to Buggie like 3 times.
Let me ask this question first before I go into that question. What would constitute a success to you as a person who organizes the piping section of a Highland Games? What would make you say this was a success? What do you look for to gain? What is your outcome? What makes you what gives you a boner when you're when this thing's all over and you're fucking hiking chairs on Sunday at 7:00 at night? Because I've been there with you. What is man, you know what? I feel good about the way this went. What gets you there?
Zero problems. Zero, basically everything going off without a hitch. All of the plans coming together.
Okay. But what does that mean though? What constitutes success to you?
That the solo contests are running, relatively on time. I know that, the way I schedule them, they're so tight that it's probably unrealistic for it to run exactly on time.
Tighter than a nun's asshole.
Yeah. Well, and that's it all goes back to the, everybody's experience. Part of the judge's experience, I don't want them sitting there twiddling their thumbs. I mean, first off, we're paying for them. So damn it, judge. But second off, I can only, not having been in that position, I can only imagine how boring it is to sit there waiting for 5 minutes for your next competitor to show up. Because I know a lot of games, they just block it in 10-minute increments.
Sure.
And if they run out of time, they add a judge. Which they kind of have the luxury of doing because they have 50 judges that are within 30 miles of their games.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't. Anybody that comes here, we're having to fly them in. We're having to pay for a hotel. So if we have to add judges, it's a huge expense for us. Other games don't necessarily have that issue. So, I try and schedule things tight. Not only for, from the competitors' experience, but also for the judges, so that they're not bored. And also from, Josh's perspective, so that he's not having to pay for everybody.
Right.
You know, so even Josh, I try to give a 5-star experience to.
Well, no. I get it. Like
I've had a
so
4.5-star experience
you
for
have
many years. I appreciated it.
You have a couple different masters you have to answer to. I get that, but like let's take the finances out of it. Like what constitutes a successful games to somebody that organizes the piping side of it. I know what Josh wants. He wants people through the door. That's all that really matters in the end, right? To the finances. That's what matters to the finances.
Do you want me to? Okay.
No, I don't.
So the job.
I don't care.
Everybody has a job.
Nobody cares.
Everybody has a job, right?
I want to ask Buggie what his job is.
I know, and we're gonna get to Buggie's job because he is very articulate and he knows what he's doing. Everybody has a job. My job is the longevity of the event. That's the only reason I'm in the position I'm in right now. Is I have to make decisions based on the longevity of the event, no matter what happens.
Sure, I get that.
Buggie's job, and he'll be able to elaborate this better than I will, is to ensure a good amount of competitors and that they enjoy the best experience they can have on the West Coast as far as piping and drumming contests.
But if you were, if you had your druthers, you would have no piping and no pipe bands, nothing, because it doesn't make you any money.
No.
That's exactly what you've said numerous times.
No, because the goal of the organization
I've heard it too.
The goal of the organization is the promotion of Celtic culture in Southern Nevada.
Unless
it's a non-profit organization.
Oh, I get it. No, I'm well aware.
Trust me.
Until you say shit like,
trust me.
This makes me no money. The judges are, who gives a fuck? The pipe pans just cost us money, but they don't have a fucking event, man. What the fuck?
No, we still have an event.
No, obviously, but I mean,
we would still have an event, but it wouldn't be the event that our customers have become accustomed to by any means.
Right. So, are you trying to Vegasify the thing? You know what I mean? Like make it bigger and better.
No, but the margins. I do want it to be bigger and better than anything, but the margins are very small, man. Like,
oh, I get it.
Someone has to be the dickhead who is. You know, I'd love to bring SFU down and have a grade 1 contest with them and someone else. I can't do it. Can't fucking happen.
Right. No, there's no...
I get it. If I could do it, and eventually in the next 3 years, I'll have enough money to do it.
Maybe, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Like, I would love to have that. That would get me rock hard. 6 to midnight. I'm ready to go.
Would it make you practice, though?
No. But, like... Someone's got to be.
At least he's honest.
No, I appreciate the honesty.
Someone's got to be the person that's looking like the 10-year plan, man.
No, absolutely. And now this year, especially, like, it makes sense.
Well, and the only reason that we're not totally fucked now is because I've been a just complete penny pinching dickhead.
This is why
for 5 years.
This is why Buggie doesn't hand the judges $500 in cash. Hey, go get some fucking cocaine and hookers on Fremont when you're staying at the Hotel California.
Like the only reason we're not completely fucked currently is that I've been a penny pinching dickhead for 5 years. And so we have the tools and we have the resources we need to rebuild and go for 2021. But someone's got to be that person, man.
Nobody's discounting the fact that that's an important position.
The reason that I exist is so that people like Buggie can say, "Here's how we make the best band contest," and argue with me until I give him, 80% of what he wants.
Right. No, I get all that. That's all part of the process. But when you discount the performers who make the event, whether it's athletes or bagpipers or soloists or whatever the fuck it is,
I don't discount
you do it all the fucking time, dude.
I don't discount the performers that make the event, only the pipe bands.
You do it all. Right, exactly. You do it all the fucking time. Like athletes bring anybody in. Who gives it? Like it doesn't matter. Are they all equal? Are they all unequal? Does it fucking matter? People, if you didn't have pipers, would not come to the event. If you didn't have... How many times have you been threatened like, oh my God, the Wicked Tinkers aren't coming, so we're never coming? The event still fucking happens, right?
Yeah.
So, but you still...
But if someone told me Phoenix Pipe Band ain't going to be there competing in grade 4...
But if you had no pipers...
I wouldn't cancel the event.
You wouldn't have any... People wouldn't come. Guarantee it. If you had nothing but athletics, have an athletes-only contest and see what happens.
I just pay 2 bands. That would be the year that I had SFU.
Maybe, but how would that work out?
We cancel the band contest. I save $20,000 by bringing SFU down for 9. They play everything. Done.
Okay, do that. See how that goes for you the following year.
Think
for the future.
It doesn't really.
How is that
going
to work out?
Well, I can't do it because it doesn't fit the mission of the organization.
Right.
You got to keep in mind, I'm on mission.
Are you?
Yes.
when you constantly berate all the performers.
Hey, me berating them hasn't caused them not to come. I'm still on mission. I'm still helping all these people.
No, I'm not
Just
saying. I'm not saying they don't come.
Just 'cause
they don't know it. I know it. They don't listen to this fucking show. Nobody listens to this goddamn
Just because
show.
I fuck on them.
One of the 6.
Just because I fuck on them doesn't mean I don't still pay them. Like it's fine. Everybody's just gotta know their place. You know, like. No part is
that what it's all about for you? Is it all ego? Like everybody's got another place. I am the man in charge.
No,
it's all got to come down to what I decide.
No, it
has nothing to do with that because
uh,
nobody gives a fuck. Dude.
I actually had a resignation denied recently, but
what would explain this? What are you talking about?
No.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Like everybody has a place here. As long as you know what it is, it's fine.
Do your job.
Do your job.
And be reasonable within that job.
Guess what? I've said it for years. Do we take a huge loss on piping and drumming? Absolutely. Will I take it every single year if it continues to make good piping contests? Fuck yeah, I will.
But you don't seem to understand.
Someone else. I'll find corporate money. I'll find whatever fucking money I can.
You don't seem to understand by constantly repeating that mantra that you're berating the people that are doing the work.
Oh, I'm sorry their feelings are fucking hurt, but I'm the one working for free to find sponsorships.
So are the rest of us.
I'm the one working for free to find sponsorships for them to come play my event.
So are the rest of us.
We
show up for fucking free.
Prize money and travel money, baby.
Prize money and travel money. For all the expense that it takes. Let's assume you're an out-of-town band, not the home band, which is one per every city. Do you come out positive on that? No, dude.
If you are the
massively
home band,
negative.
So like Las Vegas, the band that shall not be named, the home band.
Yeah.
What's the travel money you guys got in a typical year?
$400.
Split
Vegas?
that.
I don't know.
Split that among every single person that attended.
Or no, $250.
Yeah, whatever. Something like that.
So $250 among every single person that came.
Okay.
How much money is that per person?
$250, like maybe $12 a person.
You got paid more to be there than I did to organize the event.
That's a ridiculous concept.
In fact, I lost.
You think you're a fucking hero because your fucking ego gets more out of this than my $12.50.
I'm just
because
saying,
you
man.
live for this fucking.
I'm
ego
just
shit.
saying.
All the people you're telling me this is.
I donated like $500 last year. Like
to what?
To the event.
How?
Jackass.
To what?
Let's see. Let's see. I paid the $1,800 fucking health fee.
Buggie,
bill.
is this uncomfortable for you? By the way,
I only got refunded a little bit.
No.
Like I bought equipment, gas, water. Yeah, no, I'd say I was out like $1,200 last year.
$1,200 out of your own pocket.
Yes.
And you didn't report this.
Non-reimbursed.
All right, Josh is a hero. Everybody, he donated $1,200 to a nonprofit event.
I'm just saying, people are putting these fucking events on. I'm sorry that I can't pay everyone $100 a day to be there.
I'm not suggesting that. All I'm saying is give us a little bit of goddamn respect for showing up and supporting your event.
Dude.
I'm not asking for $1,200. I'm asking you not to fucking berate us because, oh my God, we don't even need to pay we don't even need the bands to show up because people are going to show up regardless. That's bullshit.
Everyone's got another spot, man.
Bullshit.
Everybody's got another spot.
Everybody's got another spot as well as you do.
Yeah.
Know your fucking spot because you have no event without participants. Because nobody's going to show up to watch fucking the main stage.
Nobody's gonna fucking know.
You're not gonna get fucking. How many people come to the games every year?
Last year we had 10,500 over 2 days.
Okay, it's probably not equal, but let's just say 5,000 a piece, right? Just
no, it's like 70-30.
Okay, that's fair enough. It doesn't really matter, but if you have nothing but the main stage, who you have to pay significant amount of money to even get them to fucking show up, unlike 12 as Buggie says, 10 to 14 pipe bands.
As much as piping and drumming
who do this shit for their own enjoyment and also for they're not doing it to support you. Don't get me wrong. The pipe bands from California could care less whether the Vegas game survives. They're showing up to be judged, but the fact that they show up is bringing people in to want to see. Oh my God, I love bagpipes. I get to see them once a year. I'm going to go to the Highland games and get them to fucking show up and go enjoy myself and sit in the grass and listen to pipe bands and listen to Wicked Tinker or who the fuck, whatever. Go watch some guy throw a pole. Whatever it is, it's the whole thing combined that's important. And
that's
the
what
fact
we
that
say.
you degrade any particular group, which so happens to always be the pipers because we're thrown off in the corner, which, okay, fair enough.
That's not why I degrade the pipers. You got to keep in
Well,
mind.
we're not.
The
we're
entire
more
event
than the athletics.
The entire event is split into sections for me. I have like 8 departments essentially.
No. Okay, that's fair. You got
And-
the dancing, you got the athletics, you got the pipe band,
and I
you got
have
the
I have
solos.
incredibly accurate statistics on what costs me more, what makes me more. Honestly, the thing that makes the most money, vendors and clans, easy. They fucking make they are the aside from people walking in the gate.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only department that pays for itself. Athletics does not pay for itself either, but their
Think about
costs,
it though.
but their costs are a lot
vendors
less.
make sense because vendors make money.
Yeah.
Clans is a bunch of people that couldn't make it in bands or athletics or dancing, so they're sitting there fucking having goddamn picnics. So yeah, pay your fucking way, motherfucker. I'm okay with that, but there's a bunch of people
Yeah,
who
keep
are
in mind,
working their ass
a
off.
lot of these things cost less than piping and drumming.
Which, like what?
Like
I don't know.
vendors and clans and athletes and dance.
Vendors make
and
that's a totally different thing.
That's
They
been-
make money, so of course you should.
I do.
charge
You
them.
know what though? I do. Wait, I don't spend more on beer. No, I don't.
But you make money on beer.
I do make money on beer.
Charge
But
for it.
that's because we're one of the rare events where we run our own concessions on that. So
I'm my simple. Let me just put it simply. I'm not saying pay anybody more. That's not my argument. My argument is respect the people that show up more, because I feel like we are disrespected in general, all games, but Vegas in particular, because I'm here, so I hear it more.
I just think
But
you
any
guys
games.
are.
I'm not saying you're the only one.
I think you guys are just more sensitive.
No, I don't.
Because like if you've interacted with any of the athletes,
I
I
think-
should
well, I
talk
think
the
that's
athletes
correct.
way more.
But there's also a lot more people.
I mean, keep in mind, like Buggy, you've been in these meetings. I should talk the athletes nonstop.
Yeah, Buggy, start over again. Say what you were going to say.
There's a lot more pipers and drummers than there are of anything else. You know, they outnumber the athletes, they outnumber the dancers. You know, so yeah,
By
I mean,
far,
of course they're going to
yeah.
cost more.
No, that makes sense.
You know, I mean, I think if you look at it per person, you know, like per band member, per soloist, it's probably on par with any other event. You know, it probably
Here's-
costs the same per person for the athletes.
Right. That actually brings up me an interesting question for me, Buggy, is how, like, what, I literally have no idea how this works, but let's say a soloist pays $33 or whatever it is to play in a solo contest. What percentage of that, say, just as a general statement, I'm sure the specifics are more difficult than that, but like, what goes into paying the judges versus the games versus, like, of that $33, what goes to what? And what? And why?
Oh,
guess.
I honestly don't even know. I mean, it's money that goes kind of, I guess, into the general fund.
Well, obviously,
you know?
but like in the end, like it's important. I would think it was important to know that, like, okay, so like half the money goes to funding our judges, because this actually is what came up a couple weeks ago.
Keep going. I have some of this.
Yeah, sure. Is that like we were discussing like okay, let's say it charges $33 per judge. You hire 5 or 6 judges for piping, maybe 2 judges for drumming or whatever it is. So you got maybe 7 judges for this whole thing, and you're making this much money per person. And there must be some like point that, like, so much of the, like, what is the point of charging $33? You're obviously covering your costs, right?
No, it was back in the very beginning. It was $20, but then it was just costing so much to put on piping and drumming that we had to up the fee to $30, and then just to kind of soften the blow. I mean,
Do you
I
still
would
come out
say-
negative with judges, even though people are paying 30 whatever it is per person? Do you still come out
sorry,
negative?
I missed the first part of that.
The question was, do you still does the games as a whole, or your division of the games, come out negative with judges, even
Oh,
with
absolutely.
all the people that pay to cover the judges' costs?
Yes. They the soloists help soften the blow.
Right.
But the reality is that I mean, there is an additional cost with having the judges do solos, but it's not as much as even just airfare, covering the airfare portion of things.
Right.
I mean, that gets so, just to fly a judge out here is, using my philosophy. I mean, it runs us, $3,000, $4,000, up to $600. So I mean, we generate, we usually have probably about 120, between solos and bands, we'll have about 120 entries.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. You're better at math than I am right now.
Well, I have a calculator on my computer. I can certainly work it out.
Yeah.
How many competitors?
On that driveway, so, so it doesn't, it helps offset the judge cost, but it does not by any means cover the judge cost.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then you factor in on top of that prize money and travel money, and
right.
I mean, it costs, I think, probably about 25,000 a year to, like negative on piping and drumming.
Oh, yeah.
Like net negative.
Yeah.
After all is said and done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. After everything's said and done.
'Cause we'll typically pull in like 3,600, maybe 4,000 in like revenue.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be, we'll have in entry fees and such, there'll be about 4,000, but we're still, we'll spend 26. So
okay.
yeah, it's no cheap thing, but
sure.
So
I mean, that's
real quick. I want to. I think we should get into some final thoughts, and then we can interact with the audience a bit, because we do have some people in the chat that are interested in what's going on. And if you are not in the chat, patreon.com/chainrant, or actually this episode was on for free on all our social media channels. Please like us on social so that we can surpass the RSPBA. We're not that far. But Buggie, I want to start with you, man. So piping and drumming contests, I think everyone's had a decent amount of a break. A lot of things are canceled. There's not that typical rush to come up with the next thing. What are some of the ideas you have as far as how do we make this better for everyone involved? Because I feel like you do treat it with an entertainment background kind of style of okay, people got to come, they also have a good time. How do you think you should make it? How do you think you could make it work better for both event organizers and also the participants?
From the event organizer point of view, a more flexible scheduler. I started to touch on this earlier, but being able to adjust the times that are blocked out for each different type of event. So currently I use I think it's 6 minutes for a 2-4 or 6-8 grade 4 march. But the program that the model that R2 uses, every event gets a set amount of time, which doesn't work for me. So I end up not getting the benefit of most of what R2's selling point is, that that it will schedule everything for you, but that doesn't work for me. So I end up having to schedule it myself. That's
so
my biggest.
You're still kind of doing the legwork.
To some extent, yes. I mean, I'm not having to worry about, is this person current on their dues? Have they sent me the correct amount? Is there a PBROC deposit, if needed? I don't have to worry about any of those details. That part's taken care of for me, which allows me to kind of get a little bit of a later start. I mean, my crunch time is still my crunch time. That hasn't changed. And I don't think, unless there's a better scheduler out there, I don't think it ever will. From that, 3 weeks out from then on, that's when, I'm dead focused on it. Before it, I had to be dead focused on it, for 3 months, so that's really helped me out. But scheduling is a big thing. That's my biggest problem, but it's also my biggest joy when I get it right. When I see it, everybody playing how I want to see it go, not big breaks and such. Either for the contestants or the judges. I mean, that's what gets me going. And then, so that would be from an organizer's point of view, the one way to improve. From a participant, I don't know. I brought this up before, but I understand why it doesn't happen. But some type of a participant entrance is something that it's been a dream of mine for years, because currently, if you've never been to Las Vegas Games, you enter from one of two entrances, and then you have to hike a half mile back the way you just came to get to the piping and drumming area. And when you're lugging, when you've got kids and pipe cases or drum cases and wagons, with drums in them or pipes or whatever, everything that you need for the band for that day, that walk can get pretty harrowing, especially with all the gopher holes. Maybe just better tuning spots. I think that might be, something that, would be important for the competitors, whether it be bands or soloists. Is, right now it's just kind of, find a spot, and shade is becoming an issue there. There seems to be less shade each year.
Oh, you haven't even seen the most recent developments.
No, I haven't. Hopefully, they'll be done doing whatever damage they're going to do by the next year. But yeah, it's there's never been a tuning, there's never been a, okay, you go here, then you go here, then you go here, then you're on. I mean, I know we're not the world's, but it doesn't mean we can't strive to be. I did
like the secondary tuning area when we were overseas. Like, I don't think we could do three.
They had a third one.
We couldn't. We don't have enough space physically to do three. But
no.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though. Of the games, and I think this is partly Buggie and partly the volunteers they get. But
he didn't mention me at all.
No, this has nothing to do with you. Is that, like, you have that one volunteer, Nelson, who is very good at, one, he recognizes who the bands are, and two, he gives you plenty of warning as to when you're due, and he will hunt you down and find you, and he's very good at it. Nelson as a human being, I don't love him. I mean, I know him well, but he's very good at doing. You've had him out for quite a few years now, and he's very good at doing that job. And you don't have a specific tuning area, but he's very good at, like, all right, you guys can go there. This is what's coming up next. This is where you got to go, blah, blah, blah. And which is, I mean, on the West Coast, there's not a lot of that.
Dude, the experiences we've had where people didn't know who the fucking judges were, didn't know who the competitors were, thought there were 3 bands only when there were 4 bands. Like, I mean, it's not in recent memory, but...
Oh, it's definitely happened.
But it's happened. Where, like, we had stewards that had no earthly idea what the hell was going on.
Right. And as well run as the RSPBA things are in general, like, at least and this is, I chalk it up to the fact that you have consistency in your volunteer for that specific job, that person always knows who's going when and who they are, and that's so important. That's what RSPBA gets right, and a lot of the smaller games get wrong, is that it's always somebody that barely knows what they're doing, which in the solo contest, which is what went wrong with that year with Voldemort, is that, like, the stewards didn't know who was who and didn't know what they were doing and had no comprehensive how this was supposed to go, so shit went to hell, right? But in the band contest, at least it's always smooth, at least in my experience in the last few years, at least, definitely. So that to me is a positive for sure, and I don't know if that's intentional or whatever, but it's worked, so I would definitely keep that going.
It's dependent upon the volunteers having an enjoyable time themselves, sure. And the bands are very courteous to the stewards, and which makes their experience enjoyable, so they want to come back. I mean, I was slated to have 5 out of 6 people come back from last year, and that's the first time I've ever had that good of a return.
Sure.
For
solo or overall, or what are we talking?
Overall, I mean, from solos and bands. I mean, Nelson has been just a freaking stalwart for me. I mean, I don't even have to call him. I mean, he just knows. He knows to show up at 1 o'clock. He knows, that.
In my
opinion,
opinion,
Nelson drum majors at 1. We're going to be doing band at 1:30.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, Nelson is definitely the best guy that you have, from what I see. And you have a lot of consistent people. I've seen, like, Ingrid. She's there every year.
She does a bang-up job with the drumming.
The solo. She does all the soloists and stuff. I've seen people that do a good job, and they're consistent. And that's important, is to get that consistency so they know what they're doing every year, and they know who the competitors are. They know what the kilts look like. That's so important.
Exactly. Because then they can provide a better experience for the competitor.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than, like, getting yelled at by some steward who doesn't know when you're supposed to be on. Like,
or
you gotta
who the
go
judge
now.
is.
Like, give me a fucking warning, dude. Like, I've been to those games too, where there's some jerk off who doesn't know what he's doing, yells at you because you're up now and nobody warned you.
Well, Sko, rip right into your final thoughts, man.
Well, that's the point, is that I think the Vegas games, from a piping perspective, is fairly well run compared to most games. And, like, I mean, it's just because it's consistent, and that's really important. As a pipe major walking a band into a circle, you need consistency, communication,
shade.
That would be nice.
People who give a damn. Trust me, if they let me play in trees, I would.
Yeah, it's hard to complain because, like, everybody, it's kind of like everybody, it's like every man for themselves, like whoever gets to the shade first and whoever wants to start warming up first. But you also know that you want to be, if you're smart about it, you want to be more or less the last band actually playing. You want to play for maybe 15, 20 minutes before you actually go out there. But everybody else, all the other grade 5 and grade 4 bands are playing for an hour, so they're standing in the shade for an hour.
It's smart planning, right? Like you want to play for like maybe on the hour for 10 minutes, on the hour for a couple times, and then, like, boom, just go right in.
Yeah.
But that's something we learned when we were over.
No, I've known it for years.
Like,
but
yes. Don't blow your shit. Don't leave your best set on the practice field.
Correct. And that's what. But Vegas games overall, compared to a lot of games, has more shade than most. Definitely more than Flagstaff, which has none.
Because it's not in the middle of a dirt field.
It's in the middle of a big dirt field. Hey, look at all those trees surrounding us. Oh,
yeah.
Could we go over there?
No, there's a fence.
But anyway, I think overall the games is the piping side of the games. I mean, I don't know. I don't pay attention to anything else, but the piping side of the games is pretty well run overall, minus 2018. But other than that, the solo contest in 2018 was shit. But other than that, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, one more final thought is this. Buggie, when are you going to come back to the band and play with us again?
Yeah, man.
When I can find time to practice. I don't know that
nobody else in the band does. Why would you?
Here's the time for you to practice. Tuesday evening, 6 to 7.
Just like 80% of the band, apparently.
Well, I mean, at that time, I mean, there was, it was about the opposite way. 80% were putting time in between practices.
Sure. No, I get it.
And I was not, and I could feel my blowing.
Well, one of the things I always appreciate about Buggie is because he's so insanely organized. He had like a schedule of his practice, and when he couldn't get to it, he felt like, I can't contribute, so I'm going to back out. Blah blah blah.
Not realizing that he should have just stayed on because he was still playing pretty well.
He's still better than 80% of the band.
Yeah.
So why not just fucking do what you got to do?
Hey, just suck it up. Just do what I do. Practice once a week and be good.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Yeah.
Be shit at blowing and blame everything on the reed like Josh.
Yeah. Like that one time I did that.
Oh my God.
And Angel. Don't forget Angel.
Oh yeah, well, Angel, of course.
Also show up to every single gig.
Well, hey, we're not critiquing that. That's definitely a strength of yours. You and not Angel. So anyway, Josh, do you have any final thoughts in regards to this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to hear about some of the ideas that were presented. I'm always going to be outnumbered when it comes to some of the realities, just like I am when I talk to athletes, just like I am when I talk to dancers, just like I am when I talk to parking folks or entertainers or whatever. Mm-hmm. But just know that there's someone counting beans that is trying to get you everything you want, but can't. because it's just
I agree.
it's just financially and fiscally and just empirically impossible. There's no way to get through it.
It's not that hard to show people respect.
No.
It doesn't take much at all.
No, but I mean, and
It's not about money.
dude, I played in the contest last year. Like, I loved it. I was so excited for the first year where I actually got to play with my band in my own event.
Yeah.
That was very exciting for me. No one can argue that I don't love piping and drumming because I put so much dumbass time into doing it and talking about it and facilitating events for people to do it. But all I ask for everyone else is to show me the same respect and understanding that I got hard decisions to make too. And if I didn't make those decisions, then there would be no event for anyone to play bagpipes at or throw telephone poles or jerk off or drink beer or fuck in the bushes or whatever. Like,
or in a completely open field.
yeah. Like, so, to each their own, I suppose, would be my final words. As long as you
How do I
understand.
sign up for that event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you understand that I don't treat any portion of an event as if it were more or less, as long as they're completely good with me being 100% honest with them all the time. Because trust me, I've had this argument with athletes for 2 years, and Highland Dance, luckily, is just kind of a blip on the radar. And don't even get me started on shortbread.
Oh, I'm well aware of those arguments.
So, like, just know that I have a deep love for all aspects of the event, and our mission, we have not failed at. Our mission is always to support Celtic culture in Southern Nevada. I'm speaking now as a representative. Celtic culture in Southern Nevada, that means pipes, that means athletes, that means dancers, that means food, that means children's games, that means you're going to park farther away than you'd like to. Sorry, there's nothing to do about that. When I'm eventually mayor, I'll just pave all of that entire place.
Here's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Or Parks and Rec director.
Put a break in the fence on that fucking corner, right where all the pipe.
I don't have to put a break in the
Yeah.
fence. They
And
break
put
their
one,
own.
Put one. Well, that's true.
They
put
put
one
their-
volunteer there who has all the names of the bands that knows what the fuck's going on.
if
It
only-
can't be that difficult.
If only
Well,
you knew.
it's-
It
Trust me.
cannot be
Ticket.
that
We do
difficult.
will call
You don't have a
for
ticket, you
we do
still
will
gotta
call
go.
for other folks. Trust me, there are people who walk up to the East Gate that are in full garb and don't have their tickets, and I'm like, sorry. Like,
Listen, man, that's
Oh, yeah.
their responsibility.
Well,
I'm not
just do-
saying take the
Just do
responsibility out of their
that.
hands.
Just do that, but over by piping and drumming.
Yeah.
So there's less travel time.
we'll park them right in the middle of the driveway where everyone else needs to get through to get to the back lots. It'll be amazing.
Perfect.
Dude, it's not going to be that difficult.
Problem
Because that front
solved.
lot
Or how about
fills
this?
so fast that everybody's parking 17
How about
miles away
this?
anyway.
Everyone can suck it the fuck up and stretch their marching legs first thing in the morning.
Dude, when you're carrying drums, 17 drums, because you're the
Oh,
drum
my
sergeant
drums,
and nobody else.
My drums are so heavy. My pipes are so heavy.
See, this is the disrespect that you show to
It's
the people
so
that
hard.
have a lot to do.
When have you ever seen me bitch about carrying stuff carrying the tents on my shoulder to fucking Flagstaff setup area? I don't give a fuck.
When did
Just
you carry
I'll tell you
tents?
what. Be a fucking pipe band member and nut up. Carry your shit.
No, that's fair. But also, maybe think about travel distance and like guys that are carrying a bunch of shit. That's fair too.
I'd say nut up. Just don't be a pussy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll disagree on this.
Schlep it in. Be a man.
All right, man. That's cool.
I got people with carts, man. Flag someone down. They'll help you.
That's cool. I guarantee you, SFU shows up, you're gonna break the fucking fence. Show that same respect to everybody.
Well, I've already broken the bank at that point, so why not break
Well.
the fence?
L.A. Scots. Let's put it that way, or whoever. I don't know.
Oh man, I can get SFU for cheaper. I think
Probably.
they're not as far up their own ass. They just know they're the best.
They don't have to talk about
Sorry,
it. They know it.
Sorry, Colin, but
Colin's not in charge of the Scots anymore. Oh, that's funny. So, Buggy, it's awesome to have you here, man. It's great to talk to you.
yeah,
It's
man,
been
I
so
love
long.
you, buddy. I miss you.
Yeah, it's great to talk pipe bands. You know,
I usually
mean,
only see Buggy like 4 months a year.
I see him like once a year. It's been for and
Yeah.
he was like one of my best friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And then like he just fucking had kids. He got married. He had kids, and then everything went to hell. Just
He's got like
life.
17 kids, 14 dogs.
And we don't play StarCraft anymore. We used to play StarCraft.
Oh, so it's
Well,
So-
see now
so
now
he's
I'm motivated.
PC
I'm gonna
PC
I'm gonna
Master
get that
Race.
on my laptop tonight.
Well, PC Master Race with StarCraft and WoW. But other than that, who gives a shit?
Well, I got to say, Buggy, I'm really glad you came on, man. And I'm really proud of us for not just ranting on a thing without understanding it. We actually held off until Buggy came on the show. So
I don't know if we have any better understanding, but now we can rant.
I think
now
we
can
get
be
it.
assholes.
No, now we just create an alternative to that platform, and it pays us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough. I like it. Well, thanks, Bug.
Yeah, I love you, brother.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun. You know, I don't get to talk about this kind of stuff nearly as much as I'd like to.
It was good to have you on when you weren't berating us for being complete a-holes.
Oh, well, he can do that in the post show.
Yeah, no, you can do that.
Yeah.
In future,
So real quick, I just want to say
I'll do that next time.
Thank you, everyone. And this post show is going to be a little different because obviously it was a free link to everyone. So anyone can participate in the post show. But I'm going to quickly just play the sting, and then we're going to get in some questions from the audience.
I know who I want. But
Who do you want?
Goose.
You're Goose?
Well, you were already Goose.
You're already dead. You already died.
You're just a reanimated Goose.
Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me. Dude, I say that all the fucking time. That was like a thing I do. Like, talk to me, Goose.
Right before you climax.
Oh, absolutely. Bucky could be Goose. I can see that.
God.
I can see that.
Yeah.